My wife always says my hat's crooked, so she's in my head right now. So.
We'll take questions for Coach. Raise your hand, we'll get you a mic.
Coach, got to settle the weekend rotation. Kind of where are you in the process, and who would you say the candidates are for the weekend rotation?
Friday night, Ethan Small, TBA, TBA, TBA. So hopefully we're a little closer to finding that out today, tomorrow, the next day. I got a good idea, but we still got to figure out some things on the field and see who comes back. The positive for us, we have some really good candidates. So there's some competition going on. Right now, Ethan Small, he's done it. He's been there. He's been one of our best all year. Leader of our pitching staff, and so I feel confident about him there. But after that, we got to figure it out.
This team's had a really good double play combo last year, and you don't have the luxury of either of those guys being back this year. Where is the shortstop and second base race right now, and where are they defensively particularly?
There's a lot of competition there. It's a really good question. It's probably one of our biggest question marks going in, because we did lose probably 100 RBIs in the middle, but also two guys who could really defend it. And that really defend it happens at the end of the year. Seems like on those hard fields it makes a difference. But Jordan Westberg's been in short all fall, early spring. Looks like the leading candidate for our shortstop position. Has really played really well. Just emerging as one of those guys, has a chance to be a high-level talent. Still a lot of work to do, but I'm excited about him. And then we have some competition going on at second base. I mean, Gunnar Halter's a JUCO transfer, high-level player, and Landon Jordan's a very talented freshman who's in that mix. And we're even flipping Tanner Allen in and out of there some to see if it gives us some pieces that we can move some guys around. So there's a lot of competition there. But we have a chance to be pretty good there too.
Going back to the pitching rotation, what have you seen out of JT again, and where might he factor into that?
JT's in that competition for the weekend. Very talented freshman, obviously, we know that. Had a really good fall. He's playing a position too, so he's bouncing around, swinging the bat. He's an ultra competitor. Is the first thing I'd always, even though he has a great arm, is what we'd say about him. But he's in that mix. I mean, we got to see how he comes back, pitches, and then kind of go from there.
Just where are you at catcher? Just some of the guys that are in the mix back there. I know you kind of got to be breaking in some new guys back there too.
We do. We have. We're fortunate. I mean, we have a lot of depth there. Dustin Skelton is back from last year's team. Marshall Gilbert's back from last year's team, and then we have two freshmen, Hayden Jones and Luke Hancock, and very talented players. So we're trying to figure that out. There's a mesh in there of trying to see, where we are. I'd say Dustin's been a little ahead this year just from his experience side, but I see all of them playing at some point in time, trying to figure out. One thing that you don't see in college baseball a lot is we have a full-time catching coach. So having Coach Cheese have the ability to work with our guys day in and day out as a full-time college catcher, I think has been a huge piece. I think our kids will say that, and I think we'll be much improved in that area, even the guys that were returning from last year.
Coach Elijah's done a lot, especially last year, how he developed it. Just talk about defensively. I understand he was honored for that with the yellow jersey. Just talk about what he's done, what you've seen out of him on the defensive side in the outfield.
I've been surprised since the fall. He is a above-average defender out there, and that's been the biggest piece. He's a good thrower for a big kid. He moves around really well. He took one over the wall and brought it back yesterday. That's why I got the yellow jersey. But he's worn it many times, and I think one of the strengths of our team is our outfield defense. I mean, obviously we know Jake's really good in center, but Elijah's like I said, it's pretty dang good out there. And then Rowdy Jordan, he's the guy who was an infielder and moved out there, and Rowdy is getting better every day too. I mean, Rowdy's a really good athlete, so he covers a lot of range.
When you have a team with as many sophomores as you have, and you weren't the head coach here last year, is it difficult to evaluate how big a jump they've taken from freshman to sophomore when all you've seen from them is what they've done so far? Right,
and you see what they did last year a little bit, just watching, but I wasn't with them day to day. I tell everybody the key to our team, the key to our success this year will be, does that group of sophomores make a step forward? And I think they will. They've had great years to this point. They've worked really hard, but to the Tanner Allens, Justin Voskew, Jordan Westberg, Rowdy Jordan. I mean, some of these kids that, had good years and big pieces, but can they continue to play like they did at the end of the year? And was that their evolution, of going through the season? And that's probably why they started a little slow, as it's hard to win here with a lot of young kids. I'm not a genius, but I know that. And so them, as they got older, they played together, they acclimated better, and you saw it at the end of the year.
Because we were talking to Spencer out on the field, and he said that he was feeling good, feeling healthy. How do you anticipate? You anticipate just throwing him into the fire in the back end of that bullpen, and just Spencer's role in the back end of the bullpen? I guess what's kind of your thoughts on that and where it stands right now?
Spencer's, that's one of our big question marks, and what I want to make sure we do is we have him for the last 2 months, and so we'll probably be a little cautious with him. I know he's an ultra competitor and a bull when he's out there, but that's as you're coming back, is it best to be thrown out there at the end of the game? And those innings, those stressful innings, put more on your arm than anything. So we're going to try to ease him back. That doesn't mean you may see him. I say that, and you may see him open at night out there, depending on how the next 3 weeks go. But he's not taking a heavy load right now. We're kind of slowly getting into it.
Hey, Coach. Gunnar Halter was regarded by scouts for his arm, but he really wanted to play a position and hit. How has he adjusted to going there full time? And you mentioned him competing for second base. I guess from the time he got here to now, how far has he come?
He's come a lot. I mean, he's had to, all fall he played short. So it was him and Westy out there at shortstop. And then as we got to the end of the fall, we said, all right, now we need to probably make us, because he hasn't played as much short as second base, so he's kind of all the angles, all the things that you have to, second baseman has to do. Great first step, getting to first. You just got a lot of responsibility as a second baseman. So that's been his biggest growth. I mean, and just working on him offensively. He's got a chance. He's got a really high side. I mean, you don't see many. I mean, he's probably 6'3". I mean, big athletic infielders that, and he moves around. He's 95 mile an hour off the mound if he wanted to be. So he can do a lot of special things.
Not a lot of college ballparks have luxury condominiums in left field. I knew you knew what the dude was going to look like when you took the job, and now that you've actually been able to practice on it, see it come to fruition, what is that like as a coach?
It's great. It has been it's amazing. Some days you walk out there and you're just like, if you're having a bad day, you walk out there and you say, man, I'm one of the lucky ones, because it's unbelievable. And once we are able to get inside, it is as beautiful inside as it is out. But it gives us, the best part about here to me is, and the ability to practice, the ability to work. And we have the field, we have the Palmera, we have the stuff underneath. I mean, just to be able to get our guys their work is, a coach, a lot of that goes away. You don't notice the condos after. Now I'll probably notice them day one. We're out there playing, but you just have that ability to be able to work has been the best part. And it's beautiful.
Coach, Cole Gordon hasn't swung the bat since 2017. Talked to him today, said he's looking forward to that. Had talked to you about being in that DH pinch hitter role as well. How does that square with the use of him also in the relief role pitching?
Is that Cole Gordon?
Yes.
Yeah, we've kind of, I don't know if he told you, we've kind of taken him out of that for now. He's just pitching at this point. Mm-hmm. So he did it in the fall just to see where he's at, but right now he's kind of, we're working him there. We could use him later in the year if we needed him to, but I wanted him to focus more on the pitching as we get into the start of the season.
Coming in as a first-year coach, how do you manage the expectations that carry over from last year's club?
We've talked about things. I mean, we've kind of put last year to bed in some ways. I mean, the kids will always have that memory, always have that experience, but it's a new group. And hopefully we pull from those experiences and that tough times they went through. But it's been about coaching this year's team. I mean, believe it or not, when I took over in Indiana, I took over a team, most of those kids have been to Omaha too, and the best time during that program's history. And our goal and our talk is about continuing and adding to the legacy. And one of the biggest things with us is maybe being a little bit more consistent. I'm excited about how we start our season, and I want to be good start to finish. And that's a big piece of building this program.
You talked about how freshmen last year, they started off slow and then they got better at the end of the season. One of the freshmen who started off fast last year was Josh Hatcher, and then towards the end of the season he was struggling a little bit. What's his role going to be on this team this year?
Man, he is he's had a good spring training to this point. He's swinging it well. He's very talented. Could play some first, could play some outfield, could DH. Just do a lot of different things. He's pretty versatile, so we kind of got him bouncing around. And I don't know if it's just this time of year he likes to play, but he's been really good since we've been back, so I'm hoping we continue that on. And he learned a little bit from last year, I think.
Coach, a lot of talk about the left field loss. What does that do to the ballpark and how it plays? What does that do as far as your power numbers?
I wasn't here last year, so I didn't know what it looked like without it. But the guys in the fall felt like the ball was carrying better. But now we're back in the spring. It's kind of a different wind. So we've had, I mean, the weather's been a little crazy. So we've had it gushing out the right, gushing out the left. Some days it looks like it's going to right and it's swirling. So we're still in the process of figuring that out. But in the fall, we felt like the ball carried a little better. The kids did, at least.
Coach, you were here listening to Jake's press conference as well. Having a guy like that who's been here for now his senior year, is it almost as a first-year head coach, having a guy like that almost give you a little bit of sense of ease? And what has Jake done for your transition?
You know, he's been great. I lean on Jake a lot. And you see it up here. He gives me goosebumps when he talks about the M over S. That's the thing I get from the players more than anything, is how much it means to be a part of this program. And you see that from Jake. And he has had an experience here. It's been a lot. And but man, there's nobody else that loves this program more than that kid. But it goes for all our kids. And so I lean on him. I talk to him. We kind of go back and forth. It could be as simple as, hey, tell me about the shades. This morning we were talking about the sun, how the sun's setting, because he played so many games here. And, you know, being a mentor to our young kids, man, how lucky we are to have him in the lineup, but also for all the young kids in our program to see how he goes about his business. I've coached a lot of great kids and a lot of great workers, but in between those two lines, it's as hard-nosed as you'll ever see, and that is in practice. I mean, he dives 10 times a practice in BP, and he doesn't know how to play at half speed or 75%. He is 100% every day he goes out there. And for a coach, when you're All-American, has that attitude, it's a blessing.
Just to follow up on Halter, do you have any anticipation of putting him on the mound, letting him pitch some, or is he?
No, he's just a position player for us.
Okay. And a question about JT Ginn. I mean, similar to Jake, Jake had the opportunity to go pro. He had a couple years to do that. JT decided to turn down first round money. How have you seen him embrace being a college player and experiencing college over going pro at his age?
Yeah, JT's situation is obviously unique. Very similar to like Jake. Man, JT wanted to be at Mississippi State. He made a conscious decision, turned down some money, but is so confident in his ability to be able to come in here, produce, and then, hopefully make it better and move into pro ball and be ready. The maturity level for JT's been like any other freshman. There's, hey, I got to get up on my own and go to class and take care of myself and go through the rigor of a college student athlete is not easy. So it's been a good experience for him. He had a great fall. He's a tremendous kid, a great teammate, and really he stays away from the limelight a little bit. He just wants to be one of the boys, which I love seeing. So it's been fun watching JT, and it'll be a lot of fun watching him out there on the weekends.
You mentioned Coach Cheese earlier. Where have you seen the immediate returns on such specialized training with catchers?
Just, I think receiving day in and day out, things that we don't see, just as actual, getting a pitch here, getting a pitch there, talking to our catchers in the middle of the scrimmage, seeing small things, the details of catching, the signals and communicating with, there's such a communication between your pitching coach, your catching coach, and the catcher and the pitcher during the game, and how they communicate and how we're setting up and different things that way. Just very small things that probably day in and day out, things that I don't see. I'm in the dugout, I'm watching the game, and he's sitting there throwing his hat on the ground, like, what happened? Like, and he's just, we just missed a pitch. We just, he sees it probably a little bit better than most of us because he sees it through the catcher's eyes. That's why catchers make great coaches, because they see all. You look in the big leagues, a lot of those guys are former catchers because they have a different perspective on the game, and he's done a great job with them.
You talked a little bit about Spencer earlier, but having a guy like Riley Self who has also had experience closing out games, just how do you plan on using those two? And you think having Riley is going to help Spencer kind of keep his arm fresh, a little bit more fresh?
Those are the pieces. I'd really like to have some bullpen roles as we get into it. It's just so early for us. We don't know exactly. Riley could close. Riley didn't pitch a ton this fall, so we're hoping we can get a good spring training out of him. For me, as you run Riley out there, Riley's one of the few guys right now that we feel like we can run out there in a dirty inning. In first and third, one out. I feel pretty comfortable giving the ball to Riley Self that he's going to make somebody hit a ball and put the ball in the zone better than a young kid. He could finish at the end of the game. I think the piece of Spencer, Cole Gordon, and Riley is huge. And then we're trying to find that. The piece for us is who's the lefty in that mix. So we're really trying to figure out. We have some candidates there. trying to figure out who that left-hander is that can come in and just pound the zone with strikes. They hit it, but we're gonna make quality pitches and make some people put the ball in play.
Denver said he's really working on transitioning from a thrower to a pitcher. What role do you see for Denver, and how has he improved?
Denver's at that back end too. Denver's one of those older, more mature guys. I think the command piece with Denver has been much better. We saw that in the fall. I watched one of his bullpens the other day. He's been just a lot more in the zone and making pitches for us. But he's probably in that back end with those handful of guys.
Obviously, a lot of focus on JT as the true freshman go, but who are some of the other true freshmen you think can make a contribution this spring? We got
Landon Jordan is one. The two catchers, Hayden Jones and Luke Hancock. You also have, on the mound is JT, but we have a freshman from Canada, Eric Sarantola, has a chance to get some really quality innings. We have a chance with, Brandon Smith's another freshman that's in the mix. I mean, we just have a Bryce Brock. I mean, I could roll through them. That'll have some significant roles. And then we have a really good group of some transfers and JUCO players like Gunnar Halter, Jack Egan, Colby White, some guys that could really help us out. And when there's others too, but it's just giving us a chance to give us a little more depth.
2 more questions for Coach. Anything else?